Welcome, everybody, to the Midwest Mini Barn Show, Built on the Rock podcast. And I'm excited about today's episode because we have Tracy Philly, local barbershop staple. Tracy, I'm excited to have you on today. Usually the only time I see you is about once a month, and you're usually behind me cutting my hair.
Right on. That's true. That's true.
Thanks for coming on today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Before we get rolling, again, the verse of the day, and it is taken out of Isaiah 41:10, and that says, "So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." Another one of the many promises from God's word that we have here today, and this is a verse that I have up in my office, and I see it every day because I have a position where I can see it every day to bring back another promise of the many things that God does for us.
Right.
And it's an encouragement because whatever we're going through in a phase of life, it clearly says right here that God is going to be with us and not be afraid. And I love that.
Absolutely.
But too many times, us as humans, we face something in life and we're scared. And we have to go through in faith that God has already gone through that. Like, God knows what's going to happen, so we need to just trust Him.
See, so like, I guess in my thought is like, what happens whenever you feel frightened? How do you respond?
Well, you make decisions. I know for myself, if I'm going through a tough time and I'm scared, I don't want to do it.
Right.
Whatever it is, I do not want to do it. And so if I have to make a phone call or whatever it is leading up to that instance, like, I will put it off as long as possible.
Right.
And so then what happens is people get upset with you.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
That's not a good response either.
Right.
But that's how I react. And that's
See, I tend to get mad.
true.
It's my first, I don't know why, but it's like my first initial reaction. And I think a lot of that is just like, because that was always the first thing. Like, I'd just get mad, and I think a big part of it is because I didn't know how to process all the things.
True, yeah.
Thoughts, emotions, all these things that come into play, like doing something that you don't want to do. So I'd just get mad. And then after, 44 years, I don't necessarily get mad anymore, even though sometimes going through those moments or seasons, chapters of life, it's almost like I don't want to be dismayed. I don't want to be discouraged. And I know ultimately He's got me by the hand, walking me right through it.
Exactly.
But still, it's like, man.
We don't know the future, and we discussed it a little bit last week's episode about if we would know the future, we would be absolute wrecks.
Man.
Just stop and think about that a little bit.
Man.
if you would know the future, if I would know the future about some of my life, I probably wouldn't even be here because I don't want to face that.
Right.
But looking back, if we would make every decision based on what we know already is going to happen, probably just stay in the house all day.
I was going to say, dude, same for me being, becoming a barber. If I would have known that I'd be standing in the middle of Cameron doing that, I would have been like, nope.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't have done it. You mean you want me to stand in the middle of the town that I said I'd never go back to and talk about the Lord?
Right.
And be ridiculed and persecuted, if you will, and made fun of, and people look at you funny and almost come into the shop sometimes just to cuss and be ornery, if you will. Like, because my old self would have been like, dude, get the heck out of my shop. You come in here acting like that,
Yeah,
but at the same time, It's like, so if I would have known that, 10, 15, 20 years ago, I would probably told you were full of, what. I'm like, that ain't gonna happen. I didn't, but I couldn't see it.
Yeah.
And I think a big part of that too is like God's permissive will on your life or His perfect will on your life.
And so what happens if we go against that perfect will?
That becomes His permissive will.
Okay.
Because if it was His perfect will, I thought about this a little bit. Like, if it was His perfect will, people would almost consider us robots.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, out of all the people that have ever been, the way I read Revelation, when it talks about the 144,000, that's only 144,000 people out of all the people that have ever been that have been blameless in the eyes of the Lord.
Right.
So past that, everybody else lives a permissive will. So and that's the beautiful thing about it, because he allows us to make decisions. And I think if we didn't get to choose, this life would kind of suck.
So let me ask you this. If you're, just an example, going through trying to make a decision on a business choice, or it could be anything, and you're asking God for direction, how do we know when we get an answer? Like, how does God talk to you in decisions or answering?
Well, honestly, it's been multiple different avenues, I guess.
Right.
I've never actually heard his booming, audible voice,
Right.
I don't believe, but I listened to, I think it was Joby Martin. He said, if you ever want to hear God's voice, read the Bible out loud.
Right.
And I thought, man, I've never even, so simple, and never even thought about it like that. But as far as like seeking him for an answer, or, like guidance, or whether it be for the barbershop, right?
Right.
There were little things that I learned that I would talk to him about that nobody else knew. I mean, my wife pretty much knows everything that I've ever wanted to do. But I always asked him to reveal himself to me or give me an answer in such a way that I knew it was him, that there was no doubt, that it was just, I knew it was him showing me or telling me. So it could be through a dream. It could be through you. It could be through, Sam. It could be through my wife, my children.
Other people you meet throughout the day, even.
It could be through, honestly, a lot of the time it's through his word. It's normally something that I have been reading that like hits me. And it's like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Like I got it. You know what I mean? So I don't ever want to put him in a, I don't want to say in a box, but like put him in this place to where he's going to answer me like that.
Right.
Because there's been a lot of times I've prayed and he don't answer my prayer the way I ask.
Because technically you're on God's time.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, my requests are not always like, that's going to be what's best for me and my family. And I believe that he has our best interest in mind.
100%.
So he may answer my prayer, just not the way that I asked him to. Or in my time.
That is true.
Or in my time.
I can attest to that,
Yeah. So.
Too many times for myself, you go to God and ask something, I expect an immediate answer.
Right. We want it now.
We want it now. But there is a way, God has a way of testing you through patience. And
I got one about that.
I've found it to where, it could be anything happening right now, like praying to God, like, if this happens, or if please not be demanding, but too many times we are demanding.
Right.
But just ask God, like, hey, I'm bringing to you this in faith. I would love to have some direction. Like, ask for feedback or whatever. Have a real conversation with God.
Right.
Don't sit there and like, God, if this doesn't happen, we're done. Like, where are you?
Yep.
No, you got to come back from a very humble and contrite spirit, like it says in the Bible. Like, ask in faith, and ask and know that, ask in humility, and say, this is a problem that's coming up. I commit it into your hands.
Right.
And there's times that has happened, like something came up and it happened, but it wasn't near as bad as you thought. And 2 days later, you had an answer. It took care of the problem. The problem is all by itself. And it's already done. You pick on and move forward.
That is definitely like a humbling experience, because that's happened to me a lot, honestly. But you said something about patience.
Right.
And I am in this place of, and I heard it put like this, and it meant a lot to me. If you ask God for patience, does he give you patience? Or does he give you opportunities to be patient?
Opportunities to be patient.
I got 6 kids.
So you have a lot of patience.
I've learned a lot. I can't say that I'm always that great at it, but at the same time, it's just like he has humbled me in many ways, and a lot of it is things that I wouldn't have expected.
Yeah.
You know, and I think I've maybe told you before about, you know, the time in my life when I wasn't really working, but I was going to barber school, and my wife and I both had a $4,000 income tax return. That's what we made for the year. And I still don't know how we paid our bills, but I know he did it, but I don't know how. But you think about our small problems, my small problems that are nothing to him. $4,000 in this world right now, and even 8 years ago, $4,000 for the whole year that my wife and I brought in would have made me 2 months, and I would have been on the street, you know, or having to sell my car, sell my house, everything else to pay the bills. How did I make it the other 10 months?
Yeah, that is a question. How did you make it?
It was the Lord, because I don't know how. I know it was him. It had to have been,
Yeah.
but I don't know how. But at the same time, if his pockets are deeper than the world, like, what is my minuscule numbers to him? They're nothing. That's why I say it's not a. He's like, dude, that's minute compared to the other things that are going on. Like, you don't worry about your finances. Like, I'm going to take care of that. Obviously, I have to do my own. I have to do what I'm supposed to do.
Part, yeah.
But at the same time, like, I don't have to be concerned about where my needs are going to come from, because if he can provide manna to people for 40 years in the middle of a desert, what is my bills?
He can see a sparrow fall. He can definitely see you.
What are my bills to him?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's amazing.
They're big to me, obviously, but at the same time, it's like, dude, like, come on, man. Like, do you not know who I am?
Right.
And the things that I've done. So I don't get too worked up about that stuff anymore.
Yeah.
I do my best to do what I'm supposed to be doing, and I know he's going to take care of it. So
too many times with myself and going through things like that, financial issues, you focus on that problem, and you just focus on it. You cannot go about your day. It's in the forefront of your mind. Now I'm at a point to where, hey, you know, God, I kind of need this to pay this, you know. And when I dip back into that puddle of worry,
right.
I have to stop myself and say, it's already taken care of. I have faith in God. You know, a couple of prayers throughout the day. It doesn't have to be a prayer. Just a whisper, open conversation with God. Like, I've caught myself having a situation, and I just like, well, God, this is I kind of don't know what to do now, so it's in your hands. And I have that 5 or 6 word conversation, or that phrase, can change the whole thing.
Amen.
If you just let God take care of it.
Amen.
And I found in doing that, it takes your focus off the worry, off the stress, and lets you take care of other things.
See, that's something I found hard to do, is relinquish control.
I wrestled with that for a long time.
And I think that's pride.
Yeah.
I think that's our pride. Like, oh, I'm a man, I can do this. Blah, 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 blah. But it's like, well, I did it my way for 36 years, and I was nowhere. I was failing. I mean, yeah, sure, I had a wife and kids, a house and some cars, a job, you know, made good money, but I was just waiting to die.
Yeah. So let's talk about that, your life story. Like, where did you start? Why are you a barber in downtown Cameron right now, and why are you passionate about ministry today?
Because the Lord, honestly, I don't mean to sound cliche, but, you know, I hear so many, well, the Lord did it, the Lord did it, the Lord did it. Well, I mean, I think a big part of that is you have to choose.
Yeah.
Right? And so
we all have choices.
Like I said, like, I can't say 36 years. It just happened to be I was 36, you know, because up until you're, 9, 10 years old, you don't really have much options on things that you're going to do necessarily, maybe even to 15, let's say. So, but anyways, man, I was brought up in Cameron, you know, never went to church a whole lot. I remember going a few times growing up, but it's just not something we did a whole lot of. And, you know, looking back on the reasons why, I mean, it made sense, you know. I mean, my parents were doing the best they could with where they were at in their life, right? So fast forwarding to me being in a barber shop was something I never dreamed of. So, it was when Enzo was 6, he asked me if I'd get baptized with him. We lived in Kearney, and I was like, well, yeah, man, absolutely. So went and got baptized with him, and I still wasn't doing right. I was still very much living in the world. But, you know, when you talk about being refined in affliction, like what does refinement look like, right? So I was still very much worldly, if you will. Because I didn't know what it meant to actually have a relationship with God, have a relationship with Jesus, to be filled with the Holy Spirit. Like none of that stuff, like that was almost like a dream world, right? Like it wasn't real life in my world,
Right.
right? That wasn't something that was, obviously it's always been real, but it, you know, like a lot of people, it's like hunting or fishing. Like these are real things in my life. These are things that I do, I love, I'm passionate about.
You never really had that.
Not like that. It was always basketball or boxing or baseball or girls or weed and getting drunk and drugs. And it was that kind of stuff. That was the stuff that like I wanted to go do. So fast forwarding again back to like getting baptized and stuff. I was 36 when I got my first Bible. Enzo it was 10 years ago because he's 16, almost 17. So almost 11 years ago now. And I got baptized over here in Winston at the Baptist church. And he really started like convicting me of the things that I was doing wrong. And the number one was, your kids are watching you. And that hurt. You know what I mean? That freaking hurt, dude.
Yeah.
Because I used to watch my parents do the things that they did. And it's just like, I'm doing the same crap that they were doing. You know what I
Right.
mean? And honestly, I was a whole hell of a lot worse than they were. So I don't know, man. I just, I always wanted this. I used to tell my father-in-law this. He'd get so mad at me because it would be like, I want to get to the place where if I want to go to work, I can. If I don't want to, I don't have to, but I'm still making money.
Okay.
Well, at 44 years old now, I'm living that dream. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not like making a ton of money when I'm not there, obviously, because
Right.
how can you make money when you're not cutting hair? Especially if another guy that's there, he pays rent, but I'm not trying to get like paid off of somebody else. You know what I mean? So I asked the Lord, I'm like, what do you want me to do? You know, I had been at Lowe's for like 12 years and left there and was dispatching trucks down off Van Brunt down south of the VA home, man. And I had a buddy of mine. He's like, who cuts your hair? I was like, I do. And he's like, you want to cut me and my son's hair? I was like, sure. And he actually is a neighbor of mine right now, lives across the alley from me. And wasn't too long after that.
What year was that, if you know or don't know?
I was probably 30, 35.
It's about 9 years ago.
Something like that. Because it took barber school was 11 months for me.
Okay.
And I've been out of barber school now. October of this year is 8 years. I've been in the shop in Cameron for 7 this July.
Nice.
So, yeah, man, I got fired from the job that I was working at because and my boss kind of had words, and I was always very abrasive, and it just didn't work well. I was in a really bad place still in that time, and so I lashed out at people, and I lashed out at him, and it cost me my job. So
Okay.
then that opened the door for me to go to barber school. And where I went down at Elamars, you had to get accepted into that.
Okay.
And so I did, man, and went through all of that, and I had some moments in there too, you know, with one of the instructors and one of the kids. But Miss Mack, she's the lady that started that thing. She's such a wonderful woman, man. Like one of the only women I'd ever seen up until that point in my life. Now, I remember my grandma she would talk about the Lord and this and that, but Miss Mack, she always had a Bible in her hand. She just glowed, man. She was just glowing all the time. It was beautiful. It was like crazy. So that was the year that I made the $4,000. That was when I was in barber school. And now I'm in Cameron, and it's like, that can only be the Lord, because I wouldn't have chose that.
Right. Because you started in Gallatin.
I did. Yeah, I was there first, and Trisha, like my wife's cousin, she opened the door for me to come in and give me a place to start and get my feet wet and stuff. It was that was a blessing in itself.
So
I just knew it wasn't the right fit
Yeah.
for long term.
yeah,
You know, so
when did the opportunity in Cameron come about?
my sisters and my brother-in-laws were talking about buying a building. They had some thoughts. They wanted to do some things, and I honestly don't even remember what that was right now. And we looked at a few buildings, and then Rose, Sam's auntie, actually, is the one that had the building, and she let me cut a little corner out of her sewing facility, and that was a blessing in itself because nobody else would ever do anything like that. But she believed in the dream, and now here we are. So
It's awesome.
yeah, dude, it's been cool.
Yeah, that's I didn't know it was 8 years since you started or 7, but that would have been. I think I first started coming down to you in 2021.
Yeah, something like
Because
that.
yeah, because I got married in 21, and then shortly thereafter I started coming down to you for haircuts. But yeah, it's one of the first impressions I had of you when I first come in there was your faith. Like that was very evident, and you mentioned earlier before here that people come in and try to pick fights with you necessarily. What does that look like?
Well, just there are
Not fights, but just stab at you.
yeah,
you know?
there's certain people that know. I mean, there's scripture wrote all over the walls, and
Right.
if you've ever been in there, you've heard me talk about it. And there are some people that come in there and they will just, what's the word? Almost like try and get you to question your faith, or push you to see how far you'll go. They'll cuss up a storm. They'll say this. They'll say that. And I used to have a guy that come in there, and he'd always say that he believes in God, but he never believed in Jesus, and all this stuff. And so there are those people that want to test you to see if you are who you say you are, if your faith is real. And most of the time, those people don't stick around very long. Especially the ones that aren't really there for the haircut. There are some
They're
people
there for the
that
entertainment or what?
there are some people that like to just stir the pot, if you will.
Yeah,
So
poke and prod and see what happens.
they do.
They want you to fail. In other words,
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of people that want me to fail, and that's okay. Like honestly, I'm surprised at myself. Like, you're actually doing this, like, and it's not because of anything that I technically did except make a choice to follow the Lord, and He's the one that's done the rest of it. I did nothing except say yes. So
would you trade it for anything else? Looking back,
no,
well, that's amazing. Like
you couldn't get
the thing
me to
that
go
you
back.
didn't want to do. Looking back now, I'm assuming you're glad you did it. Is that,
Yeah,
was that
very,
what I'm
very
getting?
much so. Very much so.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's interesting. You take a not a very good situation, something that you didn't want to do, and you look back at it and you're like, well, that was kind of nothing, and it's like the experience has been great.
Right.
Am I reading the room right?
Yeah. Well, and I didn't want to do it because I didn't want to give up all the things that I enjoyed doing.
Right.
I didn't want to give up the porn or the girls or the weed. I didn't want to give up. I didn't want to give that stuff up.
Yeah.
I love doing that, and I think a lot of people, they don't want to give up the things that they do because they don't want to follow the Lord. Like, yeah, I can believe in God all day. I can believe in Jesus. I know who the Holy Spirit is, all this stuff. But a lot of people don't want to give up what they do to follow Him because they enjoy their lifestyle. It's comfortable.
Yeah.
It's easy. If they want to go get drunk on the weekend, they want to go get drunk. If they want to get high, they want to get high. Like,
Nobody's gonna stop them.
I don't want to feel bad because I want to feel good.
Yeah.
That's a false sense of feeling good because
Right.
it only lasts for a couple hours, maybe.
Yeah.
It sucks, man. I know a lot of people that aren't here no more because they wanted to go feel good and have accidentally or intentionally gone too far.
Yeah. Searching for something that doesn't have last,
It's
like
false.
doesn't have meaning. False search.
It's
That's
false.
really sad because I was there at one point too. You go look for something for gratification and you're looking forward to it so much, you go through that spell, you turn around and look back and say that was a waste of time, money, whatever it was, for nothing.
It's false.
False.
Yep.
And so compare that with kingdom of God or worshiping God, like, obviously it takes a lot of faith, but you know that you have something that other people don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have that feeling inside that I have that some people don't have. And so the question comes to me on that is, how can I present that more through my business, to the storage sheds? Like, again, like you said, a small business in God's realm that I don't think matters to him, but it does. So how do I, give me some pointers, Tracy, on a one-on-one coaching. How do I reach out to the people through my business on the faith side of things?
Ask the Lord how.
Pretty simple.
Honestly, because
Step one is ask.
I had a young man come into my shop one time, and he was struggling, and I could tell he was struggling. And I'm praying for him while I'm trying to cut his hair and trim his beard and all this stuff. And the dude was sweating bullets. Like, he just couldn't, he was so uneasy because there were some things that were happening in his life that he was just like, anxiety was tearing him up. Right? And so I'm like, Lord, like, give me something, help me, do something, help me. I was getting nothing because I want it right now, right?
Right. Got to happen quick,
And as soon as that dude got up and left, I was upset because I'm like, Lord, why? Like, I know that you are the only answer that he needs. And if he can just put his trust and his faith in you and learn who you are, like, he'll be fine. Mm-hmm. I know he will.
Yeah.
And he's like, that was you. That wasn't me. You were trying to do something for him that he's not ready to receive yet.
Okay.
So then it's like, okay, so if it's me doing it, it ain't going to work. I should know that.
Right.
My whole life, I tried to do what I wanted to do, and it didn't get me anywhere.
Yeah.
At least, I mean, it got me places, but
right.
I wasn't truly living. I was, like I said, I was just waiting to die. So, like, to me, if you're trying to reach people through your business, if that's what the Lord wants you to do, he's going to show you the way to do it. Whatever that may be, whether it be through a podcast or whether it be through sales events or whether it be through door-to-door knocking or like whatever, Chautauqua days, whatever they may be, he's going to show you.
Yeah.
Because if it is this route that you're supposed to take, because what are we supposed to do? What is the purpose of why Jake is here, of the Byler boys? Why are they here? Why is Phil in Nicaragua? Why? What is the ultimate purpose of somebody who follows God? Matthew 28:19 or Mark 14:16 through 18. It's the Great Commission.
Right.
We are supposed to tell people, but in what way? Right? We are supposed to go and make disciples. So if it be through your business, then he's going to show you how to do it. Now that's going to take time and
right.
Spending time in the Word and spending time in prayer. And I mean, obviously he's shown you something. You've been pretty successful here.
I've tried.
You're doing pretty good, I feel like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, sure you have your seasons, but I think that's
true.
That's any business. That's any business.
Yeah.
So my ultimate would be seek him first, man.
Be willing. Obviously, it's our choice.
Absolutely.
So getting back to the conversation about the young man that you were giving a haircut to and you wanted to talk to him. So what happened in that? Like, did he come back later?
Oh, he comes in all the time.
And you were able to talk to him, or what happened?
Yeah. I mean, I can't say where he is in his faith, right?
Right. I don't need to know that.
Right.
For the listeners, just a story or a practical story for the listeners.
Well, and after he's come back, he's not in that place of anxiety and everything.
Right.
Like he's calm, he's cool, he's collected, like he's growing. He like I say, I mean, I believe he believes in the Lord, and I think he's what, 21 now, and so he's searching. I think he was 18 at the time. So he's searching and he's trying to find where he's at and who he is and all of that. So I know he believes in the Lord. His mom and dad are I grew up with them and they were some roughnecks, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they're good, wholesome people. So, and I believe that they've been raising their children the right way, So, but he still comes in, man, and he seems to be doing very well. Like I say, I can't really say how far he is in his faith or not because I don't know that. That's
right.
between him and God. So.
Yeah, exactly. Sow the seed, and it's up to the person to do whatever they want with it.
It's a choice, man.
It is a choice. Too many times, I think, when I trying to talk to people about faith and serving God, like I expect them to leave this meeting right this instance and get out there and serve the Lord. Well, no,
Right.
have
That's
to-
ambitious.
you have to sow the
Yeah.
seed.
Yeah.
Like it's up to the individual. You can tell them, you can tell a person as much as you want to about hellfire and brimstone. At the end of the day, it's their choice.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And don't put it on yourself. Like, don't blame yourself or blame myself for that. Man, I just didn't do enough. But you can do whatever you want to. You can have, in my culture, you can have preachers that come and they have fired up messages. But what we do after the messages on a Sunday or during the week or whenever it is up to us.
That's right.
He sowed the seed. It's up to you to do it. So that's interesting,
I heard a lady put it like this. She said your congregation gathering, or what you would call your church,
Yeah.
that's your greenhouse. That's where you go to get fed and you grow. You learn and you grow, but that's not where the work is done. Sure, that on a as we call it, a corporate basis. That's when everybody comes to congregate
Yeah.
and gather. Sure, you can do a lot of things and a lot of great things together, and especially for people who are hurting in mind, body, spirit, emotion. Like you can love on them and help them, but like to go and make disciples, how many people are knocking on church doors?
Not very many.
So the work
Probably
is
the
not,
people that don't want to do good to the church. You know what I mean?
but the work is not done inside the walls.
Yeah. Does your church still do the tent meetings here locally?
The what?
To the tent meetings or the tent revival or
Well,
whatever?
the
they used to do?
guy that was kind of heading that up, he's actually he's pastoring a church, another place up. Was it Bethany? So, I mean, I would say that they still want to do that, but I think it's just going to be whenever it's supposed to happen, it'll happen, kind of thing. Kind of like that barbershop revival we had that was
amazing.
those few days. Like that hasn't happened since, but like also it's like, okay, maybe he did that for just whoever those people were that were there. Maybe it was just strictly for them, and that would be the only time they would ever come and hear it.
Yeah.
So wherever he says, man, that's why I say, like, wherever he goes, I'll go,
You should do that again. That was a good time.
If he wants that to happen again, brother, we'll do it again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't want to overrule that.
Yeah, that's not my call, man. That's not my call.
So how long are you going to be cutting hair?
Till I can't no more.
So it could be tomorrow, could be 20 years from now.
I mean, I live, 3 miles from my house? What if I don't make it home?
That's true.
I'll go until I can't no more.
That shows me that you got a big, like what do you want to call it here? You've got a heart for the Lord, but you're also full of humility.
I am nothing, Jake.
You are a lot.
But
Your testimony is amazing. You see it as you're nothing, but other people around you and myself can see it. That God has done a work in you.
It's him.
And
that's what I'm
for
saying.
you to sit here and say you're nothing is like you're downgrading yourself, but it also shows me a spirit of humility in your life.
I am a child of God.
Right.
But ultimately, I'm just a bag of dirt. You know what I mean? I mean, seriously, like if you think of Adam, where'd he come from? He came from the dirt. And I came from it, and I'm going to go back to it. So, like, what I do while I'm here, if it was just for one person to ever hear that the Lord is the one who has brought me out of that, then I feel like I've won. But at the same time, it's not because I've done anything except said yes, and I'll tell people about where I was to where I'm at now and why. Other than that, I ain't nobody.
I'm going to disagree with you. It's very, very powerful.
Well, I appreciate that. And that's okay. You know what I mean? You don't have, it's all about perspective, right?
Right. Yeah.
But I just know that, today, if I don't make it home, what's he going to say to me?
Well, I would hope he's going to say, "Well done, the good and faithful servant."
Same.
Yeah.
Same. Right? But like, it's just a real life possibility.
Yeah.
So in my mind, just where I'm at right now, right? You guys are younger than me, but where I'm at, none of this matters. I
sense.
love this because it's a way to reach people.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I started it.
Exactly. And I love that. I really do, because Sam's got on to me about, you need to do this, this, this. I was kind of telling you that earlier. And I'm like,
Yeah.
man,
Well,
so to have you ask me, like, for one, I like, that makes me feel good. Like, I feel like it's a humbling feeling that you would even ask me to come and do this.
Yeah.
And so, like,
well, just know that I'm not scraping the bottom of the barrel to try to get people to come on here.
appreciate that.
Like, you're the fourth guy. So
Well, I appreciate
fourth
that.
episode, third guy. So, you're one of the first people that I thought about when I started this from the get-go. And Sam told me as well, like, you're a man of faith. This podcast is based around faith and business ownership. So you're the perfect guy to have on. This might not be the only time you'll be on here, but
Well, you may not
I'm
ever
just
ask me
saying.
to come back again. I don't know. We'll see.
Don't
But no,
worry about that.
you guys are pretty nice. I mean, I appreciate that.
And I know you're busy, and I appreciate you taking the time to come on here.
Absolutely.
It's not a small sacrifice. I'm sure you could probably be at home with your family right now, and myself as well. But I kind of enjoy it. Take the time aside, an hour and a half, talk about stuff, talk about experiences. And what I found in the short time of doing this is the people I've had on here, we've likely had the same experience or really similar, like a life-changing event.
Right.
I mean, I didn't really have a life-changing event. I went through things that changed my path, like, big time. And likewise for you, you were going on this path, but something happened and you went this way.
Yeah.
And so, and like I said, seeing you once a month, and I've always wanted to go out to lunch or dinner or something. And like I said, you're in the top 5 of people to come on here and
Well, I
sit
appreciate
aside
that.
and talk, and we appreciate it. So
Yeah, man. Absolutely.
again, thanks for coming on. I want to give you this hat.
Hey.
Haven't given you a hat, I realize. So I tell our other guests, whatever you want to do with that hat, I don't care. But
Well, if it'll fit my head, I'll wear it. But if
Yeah.
it don't fit my head, I don't know, dude. I got a big head.
throw it in the back of the van and just leave it there.
Nah, I won't do that. If it don't fit my head, I'll hang it in the shop.
There you go.
For sure. That's
Cool.
nice, man.
All right, man. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And take care.
Yeah. God bless.
If you ever need anything, you know where I'm at.
Yeah.
And
Same.
we'll see you at the end of the month for another haircut.
Right on.
Thank you.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it.
Yep.